just to get sort of an idea of what's going on in the community right now, we can look at Twitter and we see HEX. People need that Richard Hart live stream where he talks about Pulse Chain and Pulse X HEX. So that's not such a capitulation, but she's longing for the stream. Okay, everybody's longing for that. Hello, everybody. Richard Hart here. You know, everyone is longing for those days where you get the notification Richard Hart is going live in 1 hour, and then he goes live. Hello, everybody. You know, people are longing for those days. A lot of people in the community have never seen a Richard Hart stream, you know, ever. So it feels like it's been forever since it's happened. And it feels like we are going to go through eternity until it happens again in the future. But it's funny because the wage says Brandon, emotional investor, no experience wrecked. Well, I love Brandon, but our next tweet was Brandon B. Oh, Brandon. I invited him to be on the stream, and I hope he comes on. I really like Brandon a lot. He's a close friend of the stream, and he's a close friend of mine. But he's definitely feeling the sentiment, to say the least. Big shout out to Brandon B. But he says, so Richard Hart is an expletive for hiding like a coward and abandoning his community at the time it's needed, at the time it most needed him. And Richard said, and this is the quote that a lot of people are citing from Richard Hart. Richard Hart said, Satoshi, I'm just going to call you out like a bitch here for hiding like a coward. Tags Vitalik Buterin, doesn't hide. I don't hide. Bitcoin, get back to work, kids. So Richard Hart was saying, this is not a one tweet thing. This was a frequent talking point that he highlighted, that Satoshi is no longer here. I'm here. And now it really feels like he's not here. I'm not going to lie. It does feel like he's not. I mean, there are developments, which I will get into, but it does feel like he's not here. So Brandon is definitely feeling, and he's definitely hurt. But that is what Brandon said, and many are saying. There are other like lesser accounts. There's like, select which of the following applies to Richard: hypocrite, expletive, coward, all of the above. It's like a test. So yeah, Brandon also was blocked by Richard Hart. Brandon does get emotional sometimes. So when Richard said he was not going to have single-sided staking, Brandon went off on that, and Richard blocked him. So Brandon has a bone with Richard, I guess you could say. And I don't think it was. I think Richard should unblock him. Okay, my little opinion, whatever. For what it's worth, I think Richard should unblock Brandon. I don't think that was so nice. I don't think Brandon deserved the block. Okay, but whatever. He's Richard. He could do whatever he wants. Okay, but yeah. So he's definitely not feeling too good right now. Big F's for Brandon. We love Brandon, and we wish him well, but he's definitely not feeling too good. Now, a lot of people are saying this is a bottom indicator, but like I said, I remember when people were saying, oh, I can't take this depression in HEX anymore. HEX was at 3 cents, and everyone's like, oh, it's the bottom. It's the bottom. Then HEX goes back up to 10 cents, and everyone's like, look, we told you that was the bottom indicator. This person capitulating this, but like it never was. So to say that Brandon expressing his frustration publicly is the bottom indicator, it may be, but it could also be one of the other thousands of times everyone thought that it was like Crypto 7. I remember Sami's like, Crypto 7 complaining that Pulse Chain didn't launch to Richard Hart, demanding Richard Hart launch Pulse Chain. Bottom indicator. And Crypto 7 didn't take too lightly to that. He proceeded to allege that Sami was an AI and this and that, whatever. Point is that it wasn't the bottom indicator. We got a lot more bottomed since then, to say the least. So I wouldn't say it's a bottom indicator, but it does tell us that we are in fact in a bear market. A lot of people are saying the bears. It's not. This isn't the kind of thing that happens in a bear. So you guys asked before, is it a red bull or green bear? It's a red bear. That's what it is. Okay, it's a red bear. But you want to buy in the bear market, right? And then he even said, he's no longer a maxi. He's no longer a maxi. Brandon B said, given Rich, and guys, follow him at Brandon BBME. He deserves a follow. So let's increase the follower count. I like him. He's like Richard Hart, that's some strong words. Abandoning his project. In essence, an SEC uncertainty. I'll be buying Crypto.com, Phantom, and Solana, among others, moving forward. But I've been all in on Pulse, PulseX, and HEX for years and will continue to hold. But given these risks, I feel I must mitigate the risk and diversify. As far as the diversifying, I can't blame anyone for doing that, given the SEC thing. I personally am not diversifying. I don't have enough money to diversify. But if you want to look into other cryptos like Ethereum or Phantom, Solana, I mean, those aren't scams. Those are proven projects. Crow, obviously, Crypto.com. People could look into them. Hey, it's not the worst thing in the world to look into. Or Chainlink, I know, is a big one people like to diversify in. But that was what he said. And then KDP replied, 92 people watching, smash like button, subscribe. But she said, capitulation is real. It's pretty obvious. Nothing has been abandoned. PulseX had just had routing optimization development pushed live. The Block Explorer just got development updates. PulseX has features being built, and there is more than what meets the eye. Abandoned just shows people's lack of ability to research and understand what's being done. Dude, the price chart is really bad. Markets turn around, and bears don't last forever. But making statements of abandonment is just capitulation talk. Chill is a little bit rude to tell someone, but the overall message is on point. I think I would have to say that she's right. That is very true. There are developments happening. There's no abandonment. Instead of abandon, it means Richard Hart's streaming absence. He's even active on Twitter, although not as active as he's been previously. So where's Richard Hart? We don't know, but there is definitely updates to PulseX and Pulse and Block Explorers and all those things constantly being churned out. And you saw that with go.hex.com was updated. There were problems. It's now working really, really well. I had to use the Hedron website, which was terrible for hex staking. And now go.hex.com's fixed. There are updates to PulseX. There's auto routing. And there's also, obviously, updates to the Block Explorer. There are a lot of things happening. It's not abandoned, but it definitely doesn't feel as good, and it's definitely not as good for investor confidence when you don't have the founder being public, especially when he used to be. It's one thing if, like, he never was, like, he was always sort of like a Vitalik, and he was never public much, but having a founder that had such an intimate relationship with his community and was so close and so frequently on camera, for that to just stop abruptly and for a prolonged period of time, it's definitely not easy to handle. And originally when it started happening, I was really thinking, like, is he leaving? Like, what's the deal? It's really weird. Like, no streaming. It's really weird. What's up with this guy? Is he running away? Is it over? But the SEC thing, believe it or not, was very assuring to me. It's very reassuring to me that everything's fine, because now it makes sense and we understand why he's not making public appearances. It's because he can't. There's an SEC lawsuit. So he either speculated or had the tip or whatever that the SEC was going to come after him, and everything he said was going to be held against him. He was probably advised by his legal team or whatever not to make public appearances. That's just what happened. And the same thing happened with Sam Bankman-Fried. Not to say that they're equivalent at all, but you did see that process playing out with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, where his lawyers told him to shut up, and he didn't, and now he's facing the consequences of that. So what I'm saying is when the lawyers are trying to build your defense and make a case, you have to shut up. And I think that's what's happening. I think also people are saying that he's avoiding getting served. So he could wait for other SEC lawsuits to play out and establish precedent for his case, which I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not. But he did say in his last tweet that, like, I don't read Twitter, and it says in his bio that I don't watch, Richard Hart doesn't watch the news or listen to the radio. I think that's to avoid getting noticed, maybe. Or maybe he just doesn't. Maybe he's taking a technology break. Maybe he has no idea that he's being sued by SEC. I don't know. I mean, you guys could come to your own conclusions. But there is great precedent being established and a lot to look forward to. So that's really it. And honestly, I probably said it a couple times, but you just sort of have to just keep on repeating the message, because that's what, you know, makes it really hit home and gets the message. That's how you get the message across. And honestly, there's not much else to talk about. That is bear markets. That's what we're experiencing. And if that is what you're experiencing, understand that every successful crypto had similar experiences for a period of time. You know, no guarantee that a crypto is going to be successful, but every successful crypto had that period of time where it's like, is this thing ever going to, like, it had that devastating price action to the downside, devastating news, and questions about whether or not it will come back. That's just part of the game. So I'm doubling down on this one, but everyone has to come to their own decision. And this is not financial advice, so do your own research. But I mean, a lot of the premise for this bearishness and for people thinking that HEX is gone, the premise is sort of that Richard doesn't care anymore, but that's not true. It's just understand how the legal process plays out. This is par for the course. You know, I'm sure he wishes he could come out and say, hey guys, like, I'm still super bullish and we have all these things going and world's largest diamond, or humble Richard, whatever. And like, he wants to just come out and say something, but he can't. You can't do that. Just, you can't. I mean, you do that, you lose the case. You lose the case, that's way worse. Okay, that's way worse than what we're seeing now. Okay, so smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We're gonna go to all your comments now. Consider becoming a Patreon. The link to the Patreon is in the description. We had our meeting yesterday. You could see the recording on that, and you could join all future meetings every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern time by becoming a patron. There's also trade updates. There's also Discord, private Discord group you get access to. It's some good stuff, and it supports my work. So check that out. Links in the description.